I saw Funky Diabetic make a video with the same concept, so I decided to throw my hat in the ring. His video was live though, like with him placing teams into their respective tiers in real time as he talked about it. My tier list is already made, so I definitely had a bit more time to think about it, but I tried not to second guess so much so I could just provide a more raw dialogue on it. And with that being said, yes, my list is biased. I'm human, and I definitely have my favorites. You might not like how this player of a certain team plays, you know. I'm basing my watchability off of how able I am to watch a full game of yours and how many of those I can watch. But I should probably just stop talking now and let you see the actual tier list. So this is it. I may have upset a few people, and that's okay, but I'm gonna explain myself, so don't worry. So we'll start off with F tier. The Brooklyn Nets, I don't know if this is very shocking. I know they just drafted a bunch of guys, but I honestly have no desire to watch them next year. And I think Igor Damon is a interesting prospect, and I'd love to see how he develops, but that's just not enough to force me to tune in to any more than 2 Nets games next year. Next up is the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies might not even be that bad of a team next year, but it feels like it's been the same story for a while now, and there's just no bone in my body that could make me watch this team. Kyle Murray isn't even on the roster anymore, and I can't force myself to enjoy Jaren's style of play, no matter how many times I've tried. And trust me, I've tried. Ja Morant is still an electric player, but that's nowhere near enough to make me want to watch a full game from this team. Next up is the Miami Heat. It's another season for the Heat, and I am just so confused on the direction this team wants to go, and that kind of ruins the watching experience for me. I don't know if this team wants to build around Bam and Hero, and if they do, that would be bad. But they're just so confused, and I just can't be bothered to tune in to another season of Heat basketball without Jimmy. Next up is the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans' only saving grace is Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. If they didn't have them, there would have to be an entirely new tier for this team. If Zion was available, they would be higher, honestly. But he's in some deep shit right now, and I have no idea about his future with this franchise. I'm hyped to watch Fears and Queen progress throughout the season, and I love Trey Murphy and Herb Jones just like anyone else would, but them playing for the Pelicans might just ruin it a tad bit for me. Last in F tier is the Sacramento Kings. The Kings are just so confused as an organization, and it's hard to believe they even talk about the decisions they make before they make them. A core of DeRozan, Levine, and Sabonis sounds mind-numbingly boring, and I don't know who outside of Sacramento and those who are dedicated fans of this franchise will even watch a game from them this season. First in D tier, we got Chicago Bulls, and I love Matas Buzelis and Kobe White. Outside of them, this entire Bulls roster blows, though, and I have zero idea how anyone outside of Windy City can even attempt to tune into this team. Next up is the Phoenix Suns, and the Suns have traded Kevin Durant and are reportedly nearing a buyout with Bradley Beal. But that being said, they're just not good. We're about to see some high-usage Booker ball this season, and that's the only thing saving this team from being in the F tier. I love Devin Booker and really wanted him to get traded to my team, but he seems content in Phoenix, and the Suns are going to retool around him for the foreseeable future. This will probably be a down year for them, but Booker is going to get his, and that's always some fun basketball. Jalen Green's pretty fun to watch when he's on, though, but it's really rare. Next up is the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Milwaukee Bucks find themselves in what I wouldn't call a panic mode, but they know they have some pressure on them to win now, more so than they have before. Everyone thought they'd be bad since Dame tore his Achilles, and they might still be bad, who knows, but it's pretty hard to be bad in the East right now. It would be a shame to waste another year of Giannis's prime, especially now that he's in his early 30s. Dame is gone and Miles Turner is in, and I could honestly stand to watch a couple Bucks games. Not a lot, but a couple. Next up is the Philadelphia 76ers. And the 76ers are just so disappointing, man. Like, all they do is disappoint for years now. I feel so bad for Sixers fans. Maxey, Edgecombe, McCain, and Grimes are definitely bright spots, but when your bright spots are 4 guards, and not the biggest guards either, who are all going to be fighting for playing time with each other, I can't see myself tuning into your games. Next up is the Portland Trailblazers, and the Blazers are interesting because they just got rid of arguably their best player. But I love Sharp and Henderson and Kamara, and I love Hansen as a prospect as well, but they can't be any higher than D tier. They're just going to be so ass next year. Like, I don't think it's going to be fun to watch them. But I would tune into their games every now and then just to see how the rebuild is coming along. And I know they couldn't get it done with Dame, but I do think there's light at the end of the tunnel in Portland. All right, the last one in D tier is the Toronto Raptors. And look, I like Scotty Barnes, and I love Brandon Ingram. I like Quickly. I think Jacoby Walter can turn into a solid NBA scorer for whatever that's worth nowadays. And Grady Dick can definitely be good. With all those positives, though, I just don't know how much I like them put all together. I don't know if this team is going to be good next year, but I'm hoping for it. And if they are, they're definitely going to become a more watchable team. But all this just stems from bad teams not being as enjoyable as good teams. If I could redo this tier list, I might put them higher just upon second thought. First in the C tier is Boston Celtics, and I'm very excited to see how their season will go. We're about to get real Jaylen Brown first option minutes for a full season, and the team's front court is so laughably bad right now. I just wonder what we're going to see from a Brown and Simons duo. Next up is the Indiana Pacers, and the Pacers have a lot of holes on the roster next year. They lost Miles Turner for nothing, and obviously Hallie isn't playing next year. But I'm interested in seeing what guys on the roster sink and float with Hallie being out. For a team to lose their entire offensive engine for a year, it's unfortunate, but it'll be telling. And you never know, it may be a blessing in disguise. Next up is the Clippers. Their placement in C tier is solely based on the fact that Kawhi and Harden are two of my favorite players of all time. Besides them, especially now that Norman is off the roster, they just aren't that interesting to me. And I like Zubats, and I don't even know who else they have. Part of it is that I know they'll never compete for a championship with this core, and it kind of ruins the appeal this team had during the early years of the Kawhi era when you really thought that they could compete at the highest level. Next up is the Washington Wizards. I know this might confuse some people, but the Cam Whitmore pickup excites me. Not only that, but I'm interested in seeing how Carrington, George, and Sarr develop. And I've been a fan of Trey Johnson ever since he was in high school. So I like the young guys they have on their team, and I'm interested in seeing how they all do this year, especially now that they got some vets in the locker room, even if they will be bad. Next up is the Utah Jazz, last in C tier. Ace Bailey is just such an interesting prospect to me. His whole pre-draft shenanigans just made him more intriguing to me. And he's going to wear number 19, which I fuck with. People might be down on him right now, but I like what the Jazz are building. I like Filipowski. I like Keontae George. I like Isaiah Collier. And them getting off of Sexton and Clarkson is going to get the young guys way more touches now, especially the guards. All right, first up in B tier, we got the Atlanta Hawks. This was the first team I placed into the tier list, and I just think B tier is the perfect tier. Trae Young hoops are good hoops. And this team would honestly be A tier if I could trust Porzingis to be healthy. I'd love to see how Ricochet develops, and Dyson Daniels along with Nickeil Alexander-Walker make this team a pretty good defense despite Trey's shortcomings, but I like this team. I think they're going to play defense. I think they're going to hit shots. I think there's going to be lobs thrown. I think they're going to be fun to watch for 40 games a year. Next up is the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets are probably going to be bad, and that's okay. They drafted Con Kneppel and Liam McNeely, and I'm interested in them as prospects, but I'm also ready for year 3 Brandon Miller, and LaMelo hoops are always fun to watch. I like Trey Mann too, I can't forget about him. Next up is the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry hoops are always fun to watch. He's still one of the funnest and most electrifying players in the league, despite his age. I just wonder how him and Jimmy are going to turn up with a full season together, and I feel like they have a greater sense of urgency than the rest of the league just because they know that both of their stars are on that time limit. They're both 35 up. It's time to win now. Next up is the Los Angeles Lakers. The Aiden pickup is what boosted them to B tier for me. Obviously, they still have LeBron, but I'm more down on the Lakers than I have been in previous years. And it's just due to their roster struggles every year. Like, damn, why can you not put together a solid roster? Hopefully with their second year under Redick and a mostly returning roster, they will be able to make something shake in the playoffs. Last up in B tier is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Losing to Nickeil Alexander-Walker does hurt their case for me. I love watching him play. He plays defense. He'll hit shots when he needs to. But nonetheless, Anthony Edwards is still on the roster, and that will always be good hoops. First up in A tier, we got the Cavs. I can't wait to see this team bounce back. Obviously, injuries kind of derailed their postseason against the Pacers, but if they can stay healthy, they can do it, bro. They picked up Lonzo Ball, and Donovan Mitchell hoops are always good hoops. Darius Garland is still one of the shiftiest players in the world, and Evan Mobley's progression is always something to keep an eye on. This team is just going to be all-around fun next year. Next up is the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets have the best player in the world, so that'll always make them a fun team to watch no matter what. But they also made some much-needed roster upgrades this year, and it's honestly going to be so much more watchable. And they managed to get good pieces and still didn't have to give up Watson or Strother or Brown. And Brown's a high flyer. Like he's one of the most fun players to watch in the league. I just really like this team going into next season. Next up is the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons have Cade Cunningham, and I'm very high on Cade. Not only that, but if Ivy can stay healthy next year and all goes well with the new additions, I see no reason why this team can't go to the ECF. And that's probably a hot take, but I think Cade can take them there. I truly believe that. Next up is the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks are going into the year with a new coach. I think the most interesting part about a team that was already fun to watch last year is that they didn't even play their bench. And they'll likely go deeper into the bench this year, and I love that. I'm excited to see Tyler Kolek and Paco Dadier's development, and I would just love to see this team in another deep playoff run. Next up is the OKC Thunder. The Thunder are essentially running it back again. They just signed Chet to the extension, and apparently they're nearing one with J-Dub, and I love that for them. They were already fun to watch last year, and barring any injury, they should be exciting for another year in a row. Next up is the Orlando Magic. Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are just so good. Tyus Jones gives them some good PG help off the bench, and Suggs coming back makes this team all the more enjoyable. He plays hard. He's a dog on defense. I love watching Jalen Suggs play. The whole team plays hard, and they have stars that can score that make the team enjoyable, even if the rest of the squad lacks offensively. Last up in A tier is the San Antonio Spurs. Seeing how they balance Fox, Castle, and Harper is going to be the biggest question I have for them this year. But barring any injury from Wemby, they should just be fun simply because they have the future GOAT of basketball on their team. The slight holes on their roster are honestly the only thing keeping me from putting them in S, as well as I don't know if Wemby is going to stay healthy. But if there was another change I could make to this list, I might put the Spurs in S tier. Next up is the Dallas Mavericks in S tier. I'm just so interested in Cooper Flagg as a prospect. Offensively, he has a long way to go, but his offensive jump from his senior year of high school to his freshman year at Duke was unbelievable. I think he's hungry, and playing for a team that should be at least somewhat decent his rookie year is going to give him a taste of what winning feels like. I probably should have put them lower just because, and while I hope they don't, injuries will likely plague their season once again, but I just love Cooper Flagg as a prospect, and I'm so excited to see how he develops. So last up in S tier, we got the Houston Rockets, and obviously there's some bias here. This is my favorite team, and there was no way they weren't going to be in S tier. But a team with Kevin Durant and a bunch of high-flying, athletic, defensive-minded young guys sounds incredibly fun. Another year of growth from Sengun is also going to be exciting to watch, and altogether, I think this team is going to be incredibly exciting. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. Let me know in the comments what changes you would make and what teams you're most excited for in the upcoming season. And yeah, I'm going to catch y'all later.